So we're going to be working on the ear of the fox. So previous tutorial we laid down the foundation colours. So what I'm going to be doing now is add in some more layers. So I'm just going to go in with some terracotta just to sort of give it a bit more definition. I can already see that it's starting to get a bit more depth there, so that's going in the right direction. So it's not overly orange, so we're just going to add a little bit. It's going to be more of a browny colour, so I don't want to be making it too orange at all. Actually, it's going to be more browns. Okay, just bear with me. Right, I am going to look at the Pablo brownish beige just to see what we can get with that. If we've got any pigment on there, it's part of the paper. Okay. I think this is going to need another shade of brown, I think, for this part. It's a fair bit darker. It's actually quite a funny shade. I don't want anything too light and I don't want anything too dark. I'm just going to try, because it's a different shade from the other ear, because the other ear had more warmth in it with the terracotta, whereas this one seems to be quite light. So I'm just going to try this. I'm going to do it lightly, so if I need to I can take out some of the colours. But this is going to have a darker brown in it, because although it looks like the background in the darker part is like a black deep brown, excuse me, it's not entirely that here. Just going to build it out very lightly. I'm going to start with this bottom part here. Just going to work on a small bit at a time. Just going to get, so that seems to be okay, but I think let's try the nougat. So it's not the lightest brown, but the next brown up. So just going to get it to a bit of a point on it. That's it, that'll do. So it's going to be darker in here. So we've got that lighter colour underneath, and it's going to be peeking through. So let's get rid of that. So we're just going to layer it up with the brown. So we want it quite sort of wispy as well. So we're going to lay the colour down first, and then we are going to do once we've got it all in, then we're going to do the subtraction technique, and then we'll add in some more. I just want that. So that bit is like that, but not too dark. Just want to define that bit, so this bit is like that. And then we've got, so the bottom bit of the, you can see on the ear, it goes up, but then it goes over that way. So don't worry too much if it doesn't look tidy. There you go, we're just going to go over that way, because it's going to look tidy afterwards. Okay. So we're adding the brown there. It's going to be a darker bit. Let's have a look at the, so this is the burnt umber. I'm just going to give that a smaller tip to it. Okay. Oh. Okay, so in there it's slightly darker. Like that, and we're just going to be very gentle with it because it's going to be darker in between the strands of fur. But it's also darker than that bit, and we're going to do that bit after we've done this part. And here there's a mixture of colour, so it's going to be, there's some dark bits and light bits there, and that bit there looks like it's a browny grey colour. So it's all about sort of trying to separate the bits out, but this one looks a bit slightly more of a challenge than the other one at the moment. I'm just working through plotting the colours. It'll work out once we've got it all in. The thing is just to sort of go with it. So we're going to have a darker bit up there. We're going to go over and do this darker bit in a moment, but I just want to be defining some of the colours and some of the outline. Okay. Because it's going to be darker than this. Okay. Yeah. Now that we're getting some more definition on it, it's with the darker colour, it's actually really coming along there, so I'm pleased with that. It's just one colour that can, you know, starts to make all the difference. So it's a darker bit there. Yeah. Not going to be too big amount, it's got to be quite subtle. And up round through there as well. Yeah, I think the Nougat was a bit too light for some of this, and I think this one is the burnt umber is the perfect shade. So it's going to be your next brown up from, you know, from the Nougat. And if you find once you've got some of these professional brand pencils in your collection, and we're doing future drawings, and you find, for instance, I've asked for a terracotta luminance, and you don't have that, then I've got a conversion chart where I can tell you what the equivalent's going to be in all the other brands. It's by a person called Karen Hull, and a lot of colour pencil artists use that chart. It's really good. And then she does an online version, and she also does a physical version. I've got both. Sometimes it's like if you're on the go and you're out and you're doing a drawing while you're out, which sometimes is what I do, especially if we're driving long journeys. I get bored travelling in the car, so I take my drawings with me, and if I haven't got something on a materials list that I think is going to benefit the drawing, then I just have a look to see what the nearest equivalent's going to be from what I've got. Okay. Yeah, that's really starting to take shape now. I'm pleased with how we're going with that. I'm just going to put a bit of dark brown in place there, just so that I can plot that bit, but that's where all the black's going to go. Well, yeah, the black. I'm going to do that over the top of the brown. It's just so that I can give the ear a bit of shape, so that, you know, we can see what we're working with. So there we go. And so I'm just going to plot in the you know, the dark hairs for the moment, so that I can see how far they're going up, and then it just goes over the tip there. Like that, and we've got that basic shape plotted in, so you can, it's already taking on like a three-dimensional appearance already. Okay, so just add some more of the dark under here. Right. This bit's going to be darker, so we'll go over that part, the very little part there in black, and then you've got that part there. So it's just going down like that. So we're just we're just plotting in the messy stage first. We want the base foundation cover of the colours. Okay. All right. So we want to. So this part is going over, and we want to come under, because the deeper colour part it's darker because it's underneath the fur. So it goes to about there. Yeah, just plotting it in like that. Yeah, it's coming up nicely. Okay. Right. I'm just going to do some bits like that and like that, so it's separating out the colours. So the bit at the top here is going that way, and then there's a few more bits there. Just gonna add a bit more to that part. I think once we've got this ear done, it's really gonna start looking the part even more. And as I said, this bit still looks a bit weird, but we're gonna have colour on it, and it's gonna, the fur is gonna be all in, so it will start looking as it should. Yeah, because I've faintly got the line up there for the fur. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just jumping ahead a moment, I want to get rid of that part because it's going to be a soft edge to it, a bit like up here, so it's just a guideline. But anyway, back to this part. Just get rid of that part again. Just plotting this colour in. See, it's darker on this part and on this part, but then it sort of gradually, it sort of gets a bit light then dark. It's a bit of an unusual one. I'm wondering if, I wonder if the sanguine, or whatever, yeah, sanguine I think it's pronounced, let's just see what that'll look like. This is another unusual shade. It's a Polychromos one. It's like a reddy orangey brown. I mean, it's not too different from the terracotta. So I'm just going to see what this one will do. So yeah, I think it's going to be okay with this part, but I don't want it too reddy. It needs to be a bit of brown in it as well. If it's coming out too red, it's not going to look right. So it's all about striking a balance with the browns and the reds and the terracotta. So we're sort of gradually adding in colour to it. This is actually really good for the softer part of the ear, where it's darker there and then it's lighter here. So this is actually pretty good. So I quite like this one. Just going to add a bit more of that on there. Okay, yeah. Oh. It's going to look different once we add the dark, you know, of the black. It's got like a, I think I'm going to add the indigo to it first and then put the black on top, because it's not a total black and it's lighter because you've got the fur going across it. So we've got just gonna use the subtraction technique for a minute. I know we haven't got a lot of colour down at the moment, but I just want to lift some out. Oh. So what I want is very likely to go over that part. And then that part has got to be, I'm going to have some of that watercolour white in it at some point, but I think we're going to need the Polychromos cold grey one. If you haven't got that, then a light grey will do. And it just goes in different directions. Hit the camera. So this one's bit's quite light around here. Just remember, if you think that it's getting too far away from you, it will come back. This is the very untidy part of getting everything in, all the different colours, and then we'll do the subtraction part. I mean, this part is quite light here. I think actually, to keep jumping around, I'm just gonna have a, yeah, I'm just gonna add some of the indigo. So this is like a dark blue, but this is dark indigo in the Polychromos. I'm just going to try and get a small point just so that I can get some definition around here. Yeah, that's good. I think what I might do is put in the dark colour first, and then we can have a look at this part. I think that's going to be the easiest thing to do. So we're going to work on this part first and just follow the shape of the ear around, because I actually think it's going to be easier having the dark in and then we can put the layer in the lighter underneath. So that's got more of a shape to it there. It's got a bit going down there. And a very thin line around there. But then what that does is it will go across like that, and not that wide. Just took that bit a bit too far. There we go. That's got rid of that part. So it's once you've made your mind up which part you're going to work on. I mean, this has all been a bit trial and error, but now that I've got some definition in what I'm actually doing, I've decided that this is what I'm going to be working on, is the darker colour, just to get the shape, and then we'll start adding more to the rest of it. So it's not standing out as well as such at the moment, but once I've added the black Polychromos black to it, it will. So I just want to do very small movements here. So it's not entirely pointed here. It's kind of like a flat bit, that one. And then we've got down here, we've got the darker bits there, and there. And then if I start doing the darker bit there, yeah, that's making much more sense doing it that way. And just go with the direction of the ear going inward like that, so you can add some depth, because you can actually see from the reference photo that it actually looks like it's going down that way. So I think with that bit you've got the sanguine with it going down, but then in with it. So just make sure that you go underneath the sanguine that you've put in, If anyone thinks that's called anything different than sanguine, please let me know. Yeah. Yeah, because I don't particularly want to go and keep mispronouncing it. Okay, so then it's going to be like that. So it's looking quite blue at the moment, but that will change. And then, so just make sure you look at the direction of the bit underneath. So the bit going over the top, so as to the direction that you're going to go with a darker colour. I think it starts to make all the difference once you've got the dark in. But you might find once you've been drawing animals more, and you find, you might find your own path of doing things. So we've got that real darker bit going down there. Okay, so I'm just going to go in with the Polychromos black. I'm just going to give it a shorter lead on the top, like the other ones. Okay. Okay, so that's that part. So you can see bits coming in like that. So just like watch the way that the direction of the fur. So it's actually quite dark around here. And then you've got a bigger part here, so that part's quite dark. I think once we've got this ear done, and in the next session we can work on that, it should start looking at the it should start coming along quite quickly, because this part here is dark greys and blacks, and then if you look at your reference photo, this is all quite light in the background. So I think the most detailed part is this part, but we just got to make sure that we get the the right shades of grey and black in around this area. But yeah, this is going to be the bit that we need to be, I think, is the the most technical part that's left. So we just keep adding this in. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to make sure this is dark for the moment, but then because it's got light fur going over it, because it's lighter up there, I will do the subtraction technique. Ooh. Just gonna, so it's that bit there, just very faint. Just bring some detail in through there, like that, and just gonna sort this bit out because I'm not 100% happy with it. Let's get that sanguine again. Right. Okay, so following the ear line, and then it just needs to go over, so very faintly. Just like make it into wisps, so it starts off going across like that, and then what it does is it goes over like that. But doesn't quite reach over there, so it's all about plotting this part. So up, and then it sort of gradually comes over. But it's always going to be darker at the join here. But this is the part that's going to be lighter. So right, just take that bit out. Actually, right. Just playing around. So that's just trying to place this part. Yeah, it's not as nicely behaved as the other ear. Right, so that's that part there. And then I think it's that bit that's throwing us off. Oh, not good for the pencil leads. I mean, sometimes with drawings it can just be like this. You know, we've managed to get like everything else in, but then sometimes you can just get a challenging part, and it happens to, you know, all the artists, you know, and it's kind of like the amount of times people sort of change, go back, change and go back, and trying to plot everything. So let's have that. Alright, so I think, yeah, that looks like it goes in like that. I'm just going to do a line there. Because then that's where that part would go. So just, and then you've got, yeah, then you've got because this is the bit that's going to go that way. So if I just put that in there for the moment. It's not such a strange straight line as that. It's and I think it's because I mentioned before I haven't got all of the I didn't put all of the line art in. But if I can just get that in, just to sort of give it a bit of a balance. I think that will be give us a bit of continuity there with the ear, and it won't be so, you know, it won't throw us out so much. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. And so we're gonna go back to this part again. Like that. I think it's already beginning to sort of look better. I'm sort of having a bit of a play around with it. Sort of makes all the difference. So, you know, don't be afraid to sort of do one thing and then take a step back and look at it and thinking, no, it needs something else adding or taking away from it. That's the thing with art. It's, you know, making those decisions of what you can see. Right, so that's over that way. Yeah, because that bit was going over there like that. And because this bit is wow, it's going to have some dark in it. Yeah. It's going to add a bit of that to there. Because also what we're going to have is we're going to have some highlighted fur coming up through there. So I think we're on the right track, it looks like. Yeah. So what I'll do, because with the light part there, it's not going to stand out too much at the moment because it's on a light background. So I'm just going to add in some fur going across, and then what we be able to do is we'll be able to actually with the subtraction technique be able to add in, you know, the lighter fur. I mean, this one's been a bit fiddly today. I mean, I've seen other people's tutorials do the same thing. They'll do something, they'll put a piece in and then realise, no, it's not fitting into the right area. So it happens to everyone who does tutorials, and you know, and you know, all artists doing different mediums. So like even painters, they can just lift it out or just clean it off. Just gonna again make sure that's added in. So we can get that context. Because that part, although it's going that way, you've got a bit going that way, but it's going around that way as well. And we also have that bit going in there. need to define that bit. Yeah, it's a bit challenging, this one, but I like a challenge. We'll get round it and it will come out good, and we'll all be very proud of what we've done. So around here is going to be grey, but I'm just going to add this background in for the moment. Alright, let's try and do some of the darker colour again, because I found when we were doing that part there, once we'd got the dark bit in, it started making a bit of difference. So I think we're just gonna plot it in like that. At the moment it's blue, and we don't want that blue showing through too much. And of course, a bit later we'll need to do something about that part there, because it's still quite light. So this is one of those moments where I say stick with the process, because it can, you know, it can get challenging, and you know, things aren't meant to be easy, and it is going to be a work of art. We put lots of work into this, and it's going to be worth it. It's going to look good. I have every faith. Oh. So just make sure it's coming down. So it kind of like helps as well when you're doing the black is in between the fur, strands of fur, is going in the same direction. So you can see this, just putting this bit in is already changing the way that the ear's going, and I can already see it starting, you know, to take place, you know, take its place in the drawing. And just by adding a bit of more shade and going in amongst that fur, it's already, yeah, beginning to take it on. So just gonna keep working up round here. Up round there's a bit darker, and then there's a bit darker there. We want it to be, I can just take a bit out of there a moment. See, with that, because we've taken a bit out, we can add a bit more in there. And then, oops, excuse me, sorry about that. Yeah, we're doing this part, so like this is the bit where the subtraction and adding is going to take place, because we want to make sure it's got a lot of that fur there, but at the same time we're going to be going in and adding in the dark part as well. So we need to define the fur. Oh, that's a bit too high now, isn't it? There. Oh. Just bear with me, sorry about this. Oh. Now this has been a bit of a calamity one. Right, okay, just bear with me and I'll get this sorted. And I bring that down a bit. There, that's better. Right, let's get back to it then. Sorry about that. Right, so, yep. And I want to make sure that we fit in these bits, because we can always just subtract it again. So we just make sure that we've got that bit. It's going to be dark around there. Just be very faint with it, very light. And just go around it in the direction of the ear and the way that it's going to be in depth, going down into the ear canal. And it's already making a difference. It's just, you know, sometimes you're working and working and working it, and you're thinking, oh, this is too messy, I'm, you know, not happy with this, oh, it could be going better. And then all of a sudden it just comes. So yeah, it's not too bad now. So what I'm going to do with these ones, because we're going darker here and we don't want to go too dark there, I'm going to be doing the same thing but with the darker brown. But so it's not as harsh as round here, it's going to be more subtle. But if you also notice here it's darker, so we're just going to make sure that part looks like it's got some depth to it. So then we want going in like that. You've got some darker bits round here, so just going to plot that in there, and also just going to add some more of that. Today is not going by day with the colour, just bear with me. Just see if I can find that. Okay, I just need to sharpen that because the lead's broken. That's better. Okay, right. I'm just gonna go down here with that just to sort of tidy it up a bit. But we also want it to have its dark bits as well. So under there, it's darker in some places more than it is others. Just gonna go in like that. Right, just gonna, with this part, I'm not actually finished with this bit yet, but I want to get a dark brown, and I'm just trying to decide which one. What's this one? I'm going to go with the sepia. This is the Luminance Sepia number 407. But if you don't have this, then you can use the darkest brown that you've got in your set. And I'm just gonna, this is a softer pencil, and I'm just gonna go over because this way, because it's yeah, it's showing darker fur, darker tones going around here and around here. It's gonna be dark. See, there's that bit that I took out the on the previous video. That's going to be a light tuft there, so I'm just going to go in darker slightly there, very lightly. And I want to try and pick out some of those strands, because it's darkish here, but we've still got going into a lighter part. So I'm just going to use the sanguine again. And then looking for something. This is the Luminance Brown Ochre 50%. So it's the number 836. And I think this is probably what I'm looking for lightness. Just want to go up there with that as well. And I think that might be the one for there as well. Yeah. So it's gradually coming together. Still has that slight untidy feel about it. But the colours are coming, and that's a good thing. It's all about having patience and not throwing your stuff everywhere. the problem. Some of the problems that I have being neurodivergent. I have difficulties with spatial awareness and coordination. So sometimes, like today, for instance, on this video, I've, moving my hands different places, and then you see that I actually end up knocking the microphone over, almost knocking the camera over, and then throwing the pencil over the back of the desk. So sometimes it's just like that for me, and it just so happens that it all happened on this video. So next video, normal service will resume. Right, so we want to go in and do some more of the dark part there, because we've got some coming through there. And we want to take it very lightly and gently. If someone like me can do that with my coordination. So, not like that. And you can see it's really starting to take shape now. It's just, having the belief in yourself that it's going to work out, and that just always remember with art. I mean, I'm mainly familiar with colour pencils, but definitely in colour pencil art, it does go through a stage where it's like, oh God, this looks terrible, I'm going to have to start again. But trust me, stick with it, and you'll be pleased that you did, even if there's a lot of fiddling with it. And if you find you have to step away when you're working on a difficult piece, then do it, and then come back with it with a fresh set of eyes, and that usually helps. So under there, yeah, that's really looking better already. Gotta sort this bit out in a moment. So I just want to add some more bits there. I mean, it's not clearly defined at the moment as such. Let me just do that and that. I mean, if you do get a chance, to get yourself any luminance pencils, definitely have a think of it, because they're such lovely creamy pencils, and like the others, you can buy them individually. They are more expensive than the Polychromos, and the Pablos are more expensive than Polychromos as well. But I think that Pablos are $2.20 individually from the colour pencil shop. So if you can only afford a couple, then that's fine. So using the sanguine here at the moment, I'm using the black Polychromos, the sepia luminance and the sanguine Polychromos. So those are the colours I'm looking at the moment. You can use well, that's a combination of orangey, reddy, brown, I think. But if you could do a swatch and see what it comes up with on a separate piece of paper, and just make a note of the order that you put it all in, so that you know what it's going to look like, and you've got a note for other times. Just going to have a look at this brown ochre 10%, which is a luminance one, and it's got kind of like a creamy beigey colour to it, so that's another combination you could use if you don't have one of these. That's better, right, because I think that might, yeah. Yeah, that's looking good. Yeah. Just gonna use that on some of the lighter parts. As I say, the what will happen at the end is we'll be going over all of this, and just on the last video we'll be just looking at the finishing touches. So by the time we get to the last video, what will happen is we'll have had all the colour down, and then we'll just have a look to do a final check to see if there is anything else that needs altering, needs adding, that kind of thing, and if there's like any more details that need to go in. Excuse me. Right, I'm going to use a warm grey 2 Polychromos, so that's not your lightest grey, so that's the cold grey one, and that's the warm grey 2, so it's like a deeper colour, and as it says, it's warmer looking, it has warmer tones. So I'm doing pretty good on this. It's just this bit here I need to sort out. I think that's going to need a brown, a light brown. Just going to see what's this one, warm earth 40%. So that's a light brown, lightish brown. But I'm using this one because it's like a creamier texture. So I'm gonna lift out some of that for a moment, and I'm just gonna add some of that. Oh yeah, that's better. That's the colour I've been looking for that part. So then it's going to go over that way, because that's where the base of the ear is, around that part. Just going around that way. It's this part here. It's a bit of a strange one, this part, but it's fine. we're working it out as we go along. Yeah, there we go. So that's because then it goes, yeah, so it's above that bit there, so then it's got a darker bit going under there. So then it's going to go across here like this. Okay, just want to get that bit plotted in because it is the base part of the ear, so it sort of goes in like that and then goes in like that, and I think that part of the line art is what threw me, and that, there you go, it's looking a lot better, and that's basically all it needed doing, was it being incorporated into one whole ear rather than that looking separate. Okay, so then, so that's in now. That's a lighter part there. Just going to see what this silver grey looks like. And I'm going to use the watercolour pencil and the subtraction technique, but I just want to get a bit of light colour in there as a baseline. And so that's when we need, make sure that's clean. That in there. See, there we go. So you just need to use the edge of your rubber for that, for this part, and just gonna add a bit more in. So just gonna add in the warmer 40%, because again, that's where it's lighter, and then it's going in, it starts dark and then goes over to the light, and then it goes even lighter still. I'm just gonna take the Polychromos black and gonna go and put it under there. Okay. Just wanna do that, and then so it's the end bits here is where the darker parts are, in between the light fur. I also want to go in under there, and then, oh God, done it again. Right, let's smooth this out of the way. There we go, that's better. Won't knock it over now. Okay. Just lift that bit out there. That's going to be a dark bit anyway, so that'll be fine. Right, where was I before being a calamity? Okay, the black, that's right. I want to actually that's it. Do it that way, like that. Use the paintbrush to brush that away. And I think this is going to be better with the sepia luminance, or, you know, for yourselves, if you haven't got it, the dark brown. Just very lightly. And you know, the thing with like adding and subtracting, we just have to go careful that it's we don't make it too muddy, which is why we have to this is why we have to go very lightly with it. So now you've seen on the video how calamitous I can be. So that's the thing. Yeah, as I mentioned, with being neurodivergent, it affects all different parts of your body, and well, it's always your brain, but you know, it's like it's the you know, the movement and control as well. Darker bit there. Yeah, that is really taking on, I mean, it needs obviously more colour on it, but it's taking on a lot more of a natural, you know, a natural angle to it. So no, that bit there, it's more of the beige, brownish beige. So I'm just going to go in like that, and then there's going to be, this is the base part of it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add more colour to it, and more, it's going to go in a different direction. So we're just going to have a bit of definition of the fur here. And then it also goes up like that. So I'm going to include the Walmart 40 on that part. And just make sure that's Okay, so you can see the different directions the furs go in. So then what we want to do is we want to get, I think I'm going to go for the brown umber again in the Polychromos range, and it's got just very patiently just add the darkness there of that brown, so that you can define the different direction of the fur. Like that. It just gives a very subtle look of it. Still got to do something around there in a moment, but we're just going to work on this part first. And it's quite sticking to the pencils. Right, let's move those across. It'll also look a lot better as well once we've got that in front of it, but it's, I mean, we're doing the finishing touches around here, so we just got to do a few tweaks. And like that. I think we need to add in the Polychromos black again, because it is darker there. Very lightly, but just keep adding the layers to it. And did I get one of my, yes, this is the warm grey 4, so it's slightly darker grey again. Excuse me, frog in my throat. Okay, so just get a smaller point on that, and see if I can get any of that. So I want this to show up some more of the strands rather than the black or the brown, because this is going to be lighter. Excuse me. Just want to go in, actually I want to lift that bit out a bit. Oh no, that would be terrible if that happened. And is it the Wool Earth? Yeah, the Wool Earth 40%. just to bring in, just to make that stand out more. Just all about building up the texture. And I want, so for now here, we're just playing around to make sure that we've got enough texture there with the colour, so it doesn't, so it's looking a bit blocky at the moment. So what I want to do, because that bit there stands out quite a bit, so what I want to do, because it's slightly darker, I'm going to go in with the sepia for the luminance. It's going to be darker under there. Once you've been, if you're not overly familiar with colouring animals in colour pencils, after a while, once you'll actually get to know your pencils, the shades and what they do, and you'll find you'll just naturally pick it up. It's, you know, it's, doing this is so rewarding. I really enjoy doing it. So go under there, and then yeah, stick with that. Oh gosh, nearly done it again, and I've broken the lid. I think I need to put a stopgap there. Right. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so I just want to, I don't want to make it too sort of crowded or anything, but I just want to define the fur, but I don't want it blocky. So for instance, here is not defined enough, so I'm just going to add a bit more there. Basically just working on the depth of that part of the ear. So yeah, this bit still needs to be darker, but we won't worry about that yet. Yeah, needs to be a bit darker, but we'll just concentrate on one thing at a time. And I can see it more now because we've added the darker colours underneath. Okay, so I want the lighter colour, so I am going to lift out the bit here. And we just got to get careful that we don't overwork it and ruin all our hard work. Oh. Right, so this, I'm aware this session's actually been quite a long one. It's been a bit fiddly, this bit, but I think it's actually come out really well. just need to use the sepia on that part as well. Just need to make this look a bit more natural. Okay, I think for the time being we will finish there, and then next session we'll finish with the tidying the ear up, and then we'll start beginning to work down that part there. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that process. It really does teach you, you know, that some areas can be a bit more fiddly than others, and it's just really worth persevering. But I think we've got the gist of the you know, the placement of the colour. It's just all about fine-tuning this part a bit more, and so I think we're just going to go in and make some colours more vibrant and take some out, and then we'll use the the next stage where we use the watercolour pencil. Okay, so see you on the next video.